Monday night, 8:15, Eagles Bucs, and this is a game you don't really know. It's in Tampa. The Eagles are favored. The Eagles have lost 5 out of their last 6 games.
Yeah.
And not to say that the Bucs are playing outstanding. They finished the year 9-8. They barely survived beating the Panthers to win the division and get into the playoffs.
That's saying a lot.
You got A.J. Brown. They haven't really said much in terms of what his health is like. He obviously left the game with an injury Sunday. Jalen Hurts either dislocated or, to me, that thing looked broke.
Oof, that thing was going to look like a Booger McFarland finger.
Yeah. So he's going to come in with some type of finger injury, whether it was dislocation, broke, whatever. And we talked about this yesterday, but if it's a pinky, I mean, that's painful enough.
Yeah.
But with where he has to grip the ball, you're putting a lot of pressure right there with that middle finger.
Yeah.
And that's tough. And it's, luckily for them, it's probably not going to be cold to where that the weather's going to affect his finger. But just there's not a lot of time in, a week for that finger to heal up. There's going to be some soreness there.
Yeah.
If he takes any kind of hit to it, falls on it, anything, I mean, that could be detrimental to him.
I would hammer the under in this one. You got the Eagles that have been struggling.
Right.
Like you said, the Bucs didn't even score an offensive touchdown against the Panthers, which, I mean, I guess you could say I'm a Panthers fan. And I feel bad because, I mean, their defense is usually pretty good to really good. The offense just can't do anything. I mean, they beat the Panthers 9-0.
Yeah.
No offensive touchdowns. Their offense the past few weeks haven't really done much. But you could say the same thing about the Eagles. Like, I feel like the Eagles are just in a huge identity crisis. They kind of skated by the first, it almost feels like 12 weeks of the season.
Right.
Where, like, they won, but
They
everybody
looked like
knew they weren't the Eagles of last year.
We kind of rolled through it yesterday, but each game that they played, I think they had one like convincing win.
Yeah.
And it was against the Dolphins early on in the season. But other than that, it was like a touchdown or less win in all of their games, and that was including like an overtime win in Washington. They lost to the Jets. They did beat the Chiefs, but at that time the Chiefs were going through their whole deal of not really knowing who they were. Then they beat the Bills, another overtime game, which they kind of lucked out in that one.
Yeah.
Then they get smashed by the 49ers, which the 49ers also smashed the Cowboys, so that's not, I'm not talking crap there. But I told my cousin, who's a 49ers fan, in that game, I said, look, if y'all go out there and y'all beat the Eagles and you beat them handily, they will fold. This team is there are just too many divas on this team.
Yeah.
Their head coach is the diva of all divas. He talks trash to fans. I mean,
he encapsulates what a Philly person.
He does. He fits their mold, but it's kind of one of those things where when the times are good, he's like that, but when the times are bad, they fold.
Yeah.
And right after that loss, they lost to the 49ers, and they lost to the Cowboys. Then they lost to the Seahawks. They barely beat the Giants by 8 points, lost to the Cardinals, lost to the Giants. So, I mean, in their last 6 games of their one win, it was to the Giants, who then turned around and beat them.
Yeah, so out of Philadelphia's 11 wins this season, only 2 were by more than 1 possession.
Right.
Like, I guess you could count an 8-point win as still a 1-point possession game because you can get a 2-point conversion. So, yeah, I mean, everybody knew this team wasn't, elite. But, I mean, they still find a way to win, which at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Yeah. But it seems like it snowballed when they got beat by the 49ers because, like I said, your Cowgirls beat them pretty convincingly the next week.
Yeah, I think that the Eagles probably will find a way to win this game. But it won't surprise me if the Bucs can jump out quick and fast and get a 7-10 point lead and then just kind of stay in that zone.
Yeah.
If they can get pressure on Hurts, like I said, this team, and you've seen it with the Eagles, they fold. Yeah. They are quitters. They just are.
And I felt like, I think I said this earlier, I think they are going through still an identity crisis where, they had to replace their 2 coordinators from last year's run, which I don't think people realize like how important coordinators are.
Exactly.
You have great coordinators. Kind of take it back to college football. Clemson's dominant run with Brent Venables and Jeff Scott and the Virginia coach his name slipping, Tony Elliott.
Yeah.
I mean, Clemson was elite for those years, and when they left, they're especially on offense, they're still struggling to find their identity. And I guess you could kind of say the same thing for the Eagles, where I think they kind of took for granted those coordinators they had last year.
I agree. I'm
going with the Bucs.
I hope so.
I'm going with the Bucs.
Screw everything Philly.
Baker Mayfield, baby. I'm happy for him. He's having a good year. He struggled the past couple years after when he was with Carolina, and then I forgot who he may have gone to Tampa Bay after. But I'm going with the Bucs. It's home field.
I hope so. I just know I think that the Eagles will find a way to scratch it out. But
it depends if AJ Brown's healthy, which I mean he really hasn't had that great of a year anyways. No. He's had and that could go
all that
hand
trash
in hand
all
with
offseason.
their offense and Jalen Hurts not having a good year.
And the thing is like if AJ Brown's banged up, Jalen Hurts is banged up,
DeAndre Swift can only do so much.
And the other guy from Alabama,
Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith, he's banged up. He hadn't been really healthy all year.
Yeah.
I think that the Bucs are probably the more healthy team right now, and being home, it might help. So, you know what? Screw it. I'm going with the Bucs.
Do it.
I'm going with the Bucs. Screw Philly. Screw everything Philly. And we will be covering the NFL playoffs for the entirety of the NFL playoff season. If you want to hear our opinions on the games and either me in sadness or in
Talk
joy.
about the Cowboys.
Yep. Click the link here.
Or if you want to catch our full episodes talking college sports, any other sports other than the NFL, click here.